Log Sports Info here, back with another vid for you guys. Yeah, y'all, hit that subscribe, like, bell icon so y'all can be notified of this real, because y'all know Log keeps it real. Yeah, you guys, got a little something on my stomach now. Now, I wanted to do this other quick video, right? And, just further prove what I be saying about these pay-per-view numbers being released by the PBC, right? It be all lies and, and propaganda and bullshit, right? Especially if they fighting on Showtime, right? Let's share the screen. Right? And let's see what Steven Espinosa said, right? Let's see what Steven Espinosa said. This is Steven Espinosa explains Showtime's position on pay-per-view numbers. This was published Wednesday, July 16th, 2014. Right? July 16th, 2014. So I want everybody to look at that. By Mitch Aberson. And it says, fans looking forward to shifting through the future pay-per-view numbers after a big fight as a way to rate the success of a promotion shouldn't rely on Showtime to provide those figures going forward. Showtime Boxing head Steven Espinosa told BoxingScene.com on Monday the network plans on withholding upcoming pay-per-view numbers to avoid the type of controversy that engulfed Floyd Mayweather's last fight with Marcus Maidana on May 3rd, when the topic of pay-per-view numbers seemed to overwhelm the actual bout itself, he said. The numbers will only be released if the event sets a pay-per-view record, he said. Right? This is Steven Espinosa, and this is 2014. Showtime Boxing head Steven Espinosa told BoxingScene.com on Monday the network plans on withholding upcoming pay-per-view numbers to avoid the type of controversy that engulfed Floyd Mayweather's last bout with Marcus Maidana on May 3rd, when the topic of pay-per-view numbers seemed to overwhelm the actual bout itself, he said. The numbers will only be released if the event sets a pay-per-view record, he said. Meaning the record for pay-per-view is Mayweather-Pacquiao. Meaning it has to sell over that for the official numbers to be released. So all these numbers that's going out 240, 350, all these numbers are fake. It's just something just to leak out to the media. They're not real numbers. And this is what I've been trying to tell people. They're not real numbers, especially coming from Showtime. They're not real numbers. According to Steven Espinosa, he's not releasing numbers unless it breaks Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao. He only releasing real numbers when it break a record, and that's the record. This is coming out the head man at Showtime mouth. I didn't say it. And he said this shit 8 years ago. Right? So just imagine, well, he said it almost 8 years ago, 7 and some change. So just imagine all these numbers that have been coming out with Showtime, right? If they haven't been breaking Floyd Mayweather numbers, they all fake. According to Steven Espinosa, they all fake numbers. He just leaking out shit. They just leaking out numbers. Because according to him, the pay-per-view numbers overshadowed the fight with Floyd Mayweather and Marcus Madonna. The fans was talking about the pay-per-view numbers more than the fight. So to avoid that, Steven Espinosa, he said, I'm not going to talk about pay-per-view numbers until it breaks Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather numbers. So all this stuff that's being leaked out by the PBC, like Earl Spence Jr., he did this, right? No, he ain't did them numbers. It's a lie to make him seem like a bigger star than what he is, right? That's all it is. It's propaganda. It's playing with your mind, right? And excuse that noise in the background. They fixing on the house. But let me try to share this for you guys too. Yeah, man. Like, I just want to just prove what I be saying. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and some just told me to, yeah, man, because you remember Steven Espinosa talking about he not even gonna reveal no pay-per-view numbers anymore. Right? Like since the fiasco with Marcus Madonna and Floyd Mayweather, he came to the conclusion, I'm not even going to release these numbers no more, right? Because these fans, they go crazy. And the pay-per-view numbers start overshadowing the fight. They start talking about the numbers more than the fight. Right? Who sold more pay-per-views? Who did this? Who did that? Who did this? Who did that? And that's the same thing that's going on with this Earl Spence Jr. and Terrence Bud Crawford situation, right? Same thing that's going on, but according to Espinosa, hey, man, he let it be known. But, right, but look at this. See, this is what I be talking about. Mike Coppinger, he released Earl Spence Jr. versus Sean Porter is tracking at over 300,000 buys. Right? But remember, this fight was on Showtime, like, so they don't release the numbers. And then Bob Arum, he came out and he said, right? Then Bob Arum came out and he said, no, the actual number, promoter Bob Arum sources say different. Actual number was around 170,000 buys. So if the number is real here, let's just say Bob Arum telling the truth, right? Because they like to believe Bob Arum when he's saying stuff about Crawford. Let's just keep it a buck, right? Right, when Bob Arum is saying something about Crawford, it's believable, man. You got to believe everything he says about Crawford. You got to believe everything he says about Crawford, right? You got to believe the man. But when he comes out and says, no, the actual number is 170,000 buys, right? But look at the number that Mike Coppinger got, 300 to 350,000. So if this number is real, right, that means they added on 180,000 buys. Think about that shit. Right? 180,000 buys. Now just, man, at the least they added on 130,000 buys. You added on more numbers than they actually got. Right? Right. Or damn near more numbers than they actually got. And according to Steven Espinosa, what I just read, y'all, he doesn't release pay-per-view numbers unless it's breaking records. And none of these are breaking no records at all, right? They not even getting near a record. None of these numbers are getting near a record. So this is just further proof that the PBC, they just put out fake ass numbers, right? Because according to Espinosa, y'all got to bear with me because it's moving kind of, a little slow, but I'm going to get to it. Because according to Espinosa, he doesn't release pay-per-view numbers unless it's breaking records. And I didn't make it up. He said it. And this was in 2014, right? But we still going back and forth over pay-per-view numbers and stuff like this when they not even real. All these numbers that the Earl section was talking about that Spence doing, they not real numbers. They just something to be leaked out to the media. That's all. That's all it is. I mean, for real, that's all it is, you guys. Right? That's all it is. It's just something to be leaked out to the media so the media can grab a hold to it. Then they run with this narrative. Now go and look up the Earl Spence Jr. versus Ugas Ugas numbers, right? What it's going to be, 240, when that's not even the real number. And that's a fact. It's not even a real number because the fight was on Showtime. And according to Espinosa explains his Showtime position on pay-per-view numbers. And this is what he said. Right? He explains his position on it. And this is July 16, 2014. And he said, Showtime Boxing head Stephen Espinosa told BoxingScene.com on Monday the network plans on withholding upcoming pay-per-view numbers to avoid the type of controversy that engulfed Floyd Mayweather's last bout with Marcus Madonna on May 3rd. When the topic of pay-per-view numbers seemed to overwhelm the actual bout itself, he said, the numbers, listen to this, the numbers will only be released if the event sets a pay-per-view record, he said. That's what he said. Right? And a lot of people, though, they forget this, because I forgot it too. Until, so I just thought back. I'm like, yeah, like Stephen Espinosa, he did an article on that. He talked about not releasing, right? He talked about not releasing the pay-per-view numbers for Showtime a long time ago. So Rick Glacier, he was talking about that. And I'm like, yeah, like he right. Right? I'm like, yeah. Rick Glacier, he right. Because I remember Espinosa talking about that. And all I did just Googled and just asked Google. And it sent me right here. Right? Sent me right to this article on Boxing Scene. 2014. It came out of his mouth. So all these 350, 250 numbers, they not real. Because he said out of his mouth, he only releasing numbers unless it breaks records. And who is the record? Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. That's the record. And none of these guys doing that. So it's all made up lies, man. Stop believing the PBC, man. Y'all got to really understand that Al Heyman is probably really running a Ponzi scheme over there, man. Right? He's a con artist at this point, man. That's how I'm looking at Al Heyman. I'm looking at the man as a con artist at this point. Right? Seems like he want the PBC to fail because he don't want to put on the fights that'll generate the most money for his company. Right? Seems like he want this stuff to happen. That's what it seems like to me, because I know he's a very intelligent man. I know Al, very intelligent. And I know he see money. And he probably like, damn, like this fight can generate a lot of money. But at the same time, it's probably not in the best interest of the company, right? Because if this person win, they're going to take all these belts and they're going to go to another company, right? They have the option of just, floating themselves around to be a free agent, to go to any company that's going to pay them the most money, right? And the PBC don't want to pay nobody like that. So, except for Canelo. Right? That's the only person that they want to pay is Canelo. They don't want to pay nobody else. They want to shortchange everybody else. Right? But Canelo, hey man, but here you go. Here go 100 mil, Canelo. Come on. Canelo, man. Come on, man. Come on over here, man. You know these guys, man, they've been waiting on you, man, forever, man. They've been wasting their career away. You know what I'm saying? They just been wasting their whole career away just waiting on you, man. Come on, man. Could you give him a handout, man? Could you give him a handout, please, Canelo? Give him a handout, man. I got 100 mil to give him a handout, man. Come on, bro. This is pathetic. Then when Canelo say, y'all fight each other. Oh, man, man, he ducking black fighters. No, I agree with him. Fight each other. See, now don't try to see how I can be fair and balanced with everything. I'm not even a Canelo fan. But when he say something I agree with, yes, I agree with that. That's just like anybody. Right? You say something I agree with, hey, I agree with that. But I don't have to agree with everything you say. Right? But when Canelo said, yeah, they need to fight each other, I'm like, yeah, they do. They need to fight each other. They all in one platform. Right? I thought all the PBC fighters fight each other. Thought it was easy to make a fight once you go over there to the PBC. It's more easier because you on the same side of the street, right? This is the narrative that be getting pushed on the internet. It's easier to make a fight. No, it's not. It's up to the fighter if they want to fight or not. Right? You see Jamal Charlo, the Cowardly Lion, right? Talking all that trash to Benavidez. Then he get his card pulled, right? Now Benavidez got to take a COVID test. He got the, oh man, I ain't at 168. I ain't this. Bro, it's every excuse in the book. But get in the ring. But get in the ring. Every excuse in the book, but get in the ring. Right? You bring up Crawford name to Jamal Charlo. Just stop talking about him. Oh my God. Just stop talking about him, man. Like, damn, bro. This man is literally building a mansion in your brain. Right? He just living there. I mean, he just living. You better not fight that man, because if he beats you up, it will destroy you. You thought you was crying after Tony Harrison whooped your ass. Oh my God, bro. You thought you was crying after Tony Harrison whooped your ass, bro. It's gonna be worse. Right? Because Crawford gonna try to knock you out. Shit, he just ain't gonna try to just outbox you, even though Tony Harrison was whooping your ass in the second fight. He just got tired. Got tired and got lackadaisical. That's it, and got caught. I bet if they have a third fight, I bet you that Tony Harrison will probably beat the hell out of Jamal Charlo. Right? I'm pretty sure he would. So, Yeah, y'all. So this was just a little proof, that the PBC and Showtime, they don't really release numbers. They leak out bullshit to the Mike Coppingers, to the Keith Idicks, right? To they PR team, basically. They leak out this stuff to these coach channels, right? They leak out these numbers that's not real. They leak them out so these numbers can get repeated over and over and over and over and over. Then you don't even know the real number. Right? Because every time you go on Google and you try to look up the real number, they showing the same, right? They showing this 240, 240, 240, 240. Even though that ain't even near the number. Shit, if they added on 100 to shit, if they added on 130 to 180,000 on Earl Spence versus um Sean Porter, what the hell did they add on for this fight? Spence versus Ugas. Let's just say they added on 130, right? Let's say they added on 130. That would mean that the fight sold what, 110,000 pay-per-views? 110,000 pay-per-views. Let's just say that. Less than Amir Khan and Crawford. That's a little bit more than Crawford Postal. Right? So what man, like they all in the same range, man, of selling power. But they try to make Spence seem like he just he's on top. Like Spence, he's just selling so much. No, he's not. He's not. He just got a delusional ass fan base that's mostly from Texas, and Texas is a big ass, state. And let's just be honest. Let's be honest. Most of his fans are Cowboy fans too. Let's be honest. Most of his fans, once he got in Dallas Stadium, most of those Cowboy fans became Earl Spence Jr. fans. And we know how Cowboy fans are, right? I know how Cowboy fans are. I know how delusional that Cowboy fans are. I mean, for real. They be thinking that the Cowboys gonna do something every year. Every year don't do nothing. They don't got Troy and Emmett and them no more, and Michael Irvin and those guys no more. Right? The old school cats, they don't got them. But we got to understand that too, that they gotta Spence connected to the hip hop and he connected to the Cowboys fans, so he got a lot of delusional people, connected to him, right? Attached to him. So of course they're gonna be pushing these narratives. And a lot of these dudes, they don't really know nothing about boxing, right? They just start watching the sport, but they think they can tell you about the sport that you've been watching for a decade, over a decade, faithfully, right? You getting all this information you don't even supposed to know. Me, because I'm like Main Man on this, right? Because I heard Main Man say this, salute to Main Man. I heard him say this. I said, bro, like, cause he was like, he basically was saying, yeah, like before I started this YouTube stuff like this, I didn't know half of it. And I agree with that, bro. I didn't know really none of this stuff that was happening in boxing before I had this YouTube, right? Before I got this YouTube channel. But doing your research and looking at the disgusting, it's just disgusting. Nobody, everybody think they just the man. everybody a diva, right? Trainers talking mess like they gonna fight, right? Trainers trying to get more limelight than the fighter. Promoters, you know, they trying to promote themselves more than the fighter. You feel what I'm saying? All in the camera. I mean, man, straight WWE at this point, right? Straight WWE. They should just have storylines now, right? Should just have a WWE storyline and you know, just run with it at this point, man. The only thing is you got to get in the ring and you got to fight. You feel what I'm saying? Then most of the time they gonna be set up and it's. But I learned all that by doing this YouTube channel. And I don't supposed to know all this shit. I didn't want to know all this stuff. I know y'all probably didn't either. Right? It was better when we was in the dark and we just was talking about the fights and we didn't know, you know, the politics and all this nonsense behind boxing. All this nonsense. Right? When they signed up to be a boxer, you signed up to be a boxer. Didn't nobody force you to be a boxer. You wanted to be a boxer. Get in there and fight. You're going to get paid for it. Right? No, but since Floyd Mayweather came along, everybody is strategically moving through divisions, strategically moving. Don't nobody want to lose. Everybody's scared to get an L, right? Because if you get an L nowadays, these boxing fans, they so fecal, right? They just switch up on you at the drop of a dime. They gonna leave you behind as soon as you lose, right? Oh man, he trash. Oh man, he was never nothing, man. Not knowing that all the greats have lost. You're always going to find somebody that got your number, right? And it can be a dude who got 10 losses, but he got your number. You feel what I'm saying? You think that yeah, shit, you could be undefeated and all that, but it could be a dude with 5 losses. He just got your number. For real. You did something and he got off a shot and you was never the same in the fight. You know what I'm saying? You was on wobbly legs the whole time. But yeah, you guys, like I just wanted just to prove that, you know, just a little further, little proof that Steven Espinosa, he said it back in 2014 that they don't even release pay-per-view numbers unless it break records. And none of these fights since, you know, Floyd Mayweather versus Pacquiao has broken a record. Right? But probably Floyd Mayweather McGregor, right? Those probably was real numbers. But anything that's fighting on Showtime, that got Showtime involved in it, it's not, numbers are not being released. So subscribe to the channel, you guys. Like the video, comment on the video. I'm gone.